I really love what I do. I love having this show. So welcome back to On Air with Angie Everhart. I'm here with Twyna Bell, who is, we were talking about what you do for a living and how important being a therapist.
Yes.
And it explain to people exactly what you do so that in your own words. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's about emotional shifting. So I work with women, children, and families, and we talk about the hard stuff, the emotions, and we go through the process, and people come in and we help them to get their lives on track by having conversations and giving them the tools that they need.
So is this small groups? Is it large groups of people? You say come in. Where do they come into?
They come into my office. Sometimes I go to them. So the trainings are usually facilitated within schools. Sometimes we facilitate the trainings in clinics. And I do one-on-one telehealth sessions. So I'm accessible to people anywhere based on the new telehealth platform that we've kind of been offering that about 3 years now. And it works well.
Which is really nice because people can not leave their homes or whatever and call in, and it facilitates an easier access, I would say, to you.
It's about access to care.
Yes. So when you do kids, do you go to schools and you speak to schools?
Yes. So, for example, the last event I facilitated was with the National Children's Network, actually located in Louisville, Kentucky. So it's a national program, and their whole thing was to get kids equipped and ready as they transition back to school from a mental health standpoint.
Love this.
And so I flew in and basically worked with the parents and the children and provided them with a toolbox to help them deal with their feelings and to just give them that brain exercise that they need on how to effectively communicate with each other, parent child, and also how to communicate with the peers and the teachers. So
you say the toolbox.
Yes, the toolbox.
What is in that toolbox?
The toolbox is awesome. It's magic.
Okay.
It's magic.
I want a toolbox.
Yeah, it's magic. So it's a treatment modality that's called PCIT, Parent-Child Interaction Therapy. And it's just amazing. Parent-child interaction therapy is an evidence-based practice, meaning that it's been researched, and if you follow the modality, you will get the outcomes. And it's all about relationship enhancement.
I mean, okay, so this is the quest I'm on.
Yes.
Is to have a better life, communicate better with my son.
Yes.
I mean, and we already communicate really well. He's just a dream child, but still, it can always, he's going to become a teenager.
Yes.
So teenagers are a different breed, and talking to teenagers is completely different. Do you have a toolbox for different age groups?
Yes. So PCIT, Parent-Child Interaction Therapy, is from toddler till about the age of 8 or 9. And then we have something that really aligns with PCIT that has the same strategies, but you're just working from a different context because you are speaking with teenagers. And so that's for our tweens. And so that toolbox, we use CARE. That's the training that's called CARE. Basically the same approach, but the conversation is just a little different. So PCIT, it stands for, so we talk about the pride skills. Okay, pride is about being happy, and it's just an intentional approach that you'll use when communicating with your child. Right. So, for example, we love to give praises, right? So, good job, wonderful, awesome, fantastic. You rock. Yes. Yeah, those are praises, right? So, in PCIT, we're teaching you to give labeled praises. So, a labeled praise is, good job, son. I really like how you pitched in today to help me get dinner prepared. I really appreciate that.
Oh, I love that.
That labeled praise is going to give him the opportunity to know what exactly it is that you like. And he's more likely going to repeat that behavior again. So labeled praises is something that we want all of our parents to put in that toolbox because there are also benefits where it increases self-esteem in a child as well.
I tell him all the time, because I hear little things that my son does, because I'm raising a little gentleman.
Yes.
And I hear all the time from mothers, Caden opened the door for me today. And I tell him all the time, and sometimes he'll come if we're not in a hurry to go to school. He'll come and he'll open my car door.
That's awesome.
And I tell him, I'm so proud of you. And I love when you open my car door, Caden.
Nice label praise. That's a perfect label praise. Yes.
And so the other day when we were at school, one of the moms, he stopped. I had walked through the door and he waited. And she turned around and she said, and she didn't know me because he's at a new school. So she didn't know that it was my son.
Right.
And she said, what a nice young man you are for holding my door.
Beautiful.
And that's a label praise, right?
Yes, it's a label praise. Yes.
And
absolutely.
And he was like,
that self-esteem. Yes. And he's going to be likely to repeat that over and over again. And now you're instilling a behavior in him, and it's going to last a lifetime.
Okay, so that's a good idea for people, even things that they don't do. And when they do it once, label praise them.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. And also, so reflections is the next part of the toolbox. So reflections, you talked about having conversations with your son. Mm-hmm. So, as adults and professionals, we want to do all the talking oftentimes as parents. And so we're teaching our children and we're talking to them. But with reflections, we want you to give your child the opportunity to have the conversation with you. And then you're going to reflect back what they said to you.
Okay. So go in a little bit deeper here.
Okay. So for example, what's your son's name?
Caden.
Mm-hmm. So Caden may come home and Caden is just, wanting to chat with you. Mm-hmm. And Caden is like, you're in the middle of working on your show, you're sending out emails, you're trying to prepare dinner. Mm-hmm. And so Caden wants to have a conversation, and you're listening to Caden, and you're also multitasking. Mm-hmm. And so Caden is like, Mom, on today, I want to tell you about this situation that I had with one of my friends. Mm-hmm. And that situation with one of my friends, it really turned into maybe a misunderstanding. And I ended up having to advocate for myself because my friend tried to take advantage of me.
Well, he had somebody the other day who hit him in the stomach.
Perfect
example. And he stopped me.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Mom, this person hit me in the stomach. Mm-hmm. And actually, the mother of the child said, well, you need to tell him that's not cool.
Okay.
What do I do in that situation? So that's an
opportunity when you're sitting down and speaking with him to use a reflection.
Yes.
Because yes, he's expressing to you, Mom, this kid hit me in the stomach.
But he expressed it to me too.
Yes. And it's a lot going on. So you want to be able to reflect back to him by saying, so what you're saying is, when you were at school today, the kid hit you in your stomach. Let's have a conversation about that. And you're just really reflecting back what they're saying, because it kind of validates
them.
Yes, it validates them, and it puts them in a position.
They know you're listening.
You're listening to them. Yes, they want to be heard.
There's a couple things that I notice, and I take notice, and he and I, we laugh at because I make notice of it when it happens.
Yes,
for him. When you go to a restaurant, a lot of times when you're with a little kid, a server will pass right over a kid. Mm-hmm. They will not ask them what they want. They will take an order of everybody at the table, and they will not take the order of the child.
Yes.
And that drives me crazy. It does. It just drives me batty, because I never talked to my son like he was a little kid ever. And so I started saying to him, I said, Caden, since we see that this is happening, maybe when this happens, you speak up.
Yes.
Or we can, make sure that kids are heard. He said, nobody listens to a kid, Mom. I said, that's not true. Mm-hmm. People do listen to kids a lot. Yes. But we can change that behavior even more so. And I think that's what makes a great teacher.
Yes. Kids want to be heard, and reflections are going to put you in a position where you're going to intentionally, have that conversation with him, reflect back what he's saying to you.
I think that'd be great in a relationship.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I teach my adults as well. You can use these same skills with your other person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it works. I mean, how awesome would it be for you to say, honey, thank you so much for taking out the trash for me. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Really helps the team to function.
Or I hear you. You had a really hard day today.
Yes. You just
want to go and sit down for a second. I hear what you're saying.
Nice reflection.
Because a lot of men do that when they get home from work. They just want to go sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And we might not be in the same place.
Yes.
But they just want to go sit down. They had a hard day.
Yes.
And that's what a great tool to have.
Yes. Awesome.
Like you. It is.
Relationship enhancement. So that's reflections. And then,
well, I hope that really helps people who are watching this, because I know that has really sunk in with me too.
Yes.
I think that if the world did that, we'd never have a war.
Mm-hmm. The science of relationships.
Yes.
There is a science behind relationships, and it's about having the tools to be able to manage the relationships, just like you have to manage your health,
right,
and your wellness. Relationships are a part of that. So, yeah.
Health is a huge deal for me. Health and wellness, because I believe it's mind, body, and spirit.
Yes, the tri-man. Yes.
And I think if you don't have each one of those circles, say, working evenly, one's going to be smaller than the other, and it's going to make it uneven. So it doesn't flow. So mind, body, spirit, when they're all the same size, you have good energy within your body.
Yes. Balance. Balance.
And I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing that, one of my best girlfriends has 7 degrees on the brain. And her and I have discussions about brains all the time and how the brain functions. And I'm always so curious as to mind, body, and spirit. And this is relatively, a couple years old for me, that I've, been going to therapy, and I go see a therapist and to make myself feel so that I'm good in all areas. And sometimes I need one area a little bit more than the other area. And so I'll, catch up here.
Yes.
Do a little brush up here. Do a little brush up here a couple of months later, and figure out, what I need in my life and what my son needs in his life. And
love it.
I've learned a lot this past year from everything that has happened in my life. So I say I'm on a quest, and I'm on a quest to meet people like you that bring better to the planet. Do you love your job?
I love my job. It's my passion. Yes, it is my passion. Growing up, my family was always the family in my community that on Sundays everybody came to our house, and my grandfather is a cook, so we cook for the community.
Awesome.
And the biggest thing that I really remember about my family, and that's why I have a passion for children, is because my grandfather had a blue Ford truck. And he would get all of the kids. He had a camper on the back of it, and he'd get all the kids in the neighborhood, round them up, and he would take everyone to the lake, to the White Lake on Sundays.
Nice.
He gave back. So for the parents that didn't have opportunities to take their kids and to spend time with them and to get them exposed outside of our small neighborhood,
right,
my grandfather was that person that did that for everyone.
That's
and so,
really nice.
Yeah, I'm really big on family and being
back.
Connected, and most of all, giving back. So, yeah, it's kind of like I'm not working, but I am working.
Well, isn't it when you give back, isn't that when you feel the best?
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
And coming from where I come from, in the city of bigger and better deals, it's what I call Los Angeles.
Explain that to me.
I think everybody's out for the bigger and better deal.
Wow.
In Los Angeles. And not everybody, of course. There are exceptions. But I think it's an industry where people are looking for, oh my gosh, there's so-and-so. Oh my gosh, there's so-and-so.
Yes.
That they're looking for to achieve something that is like the bigger and better deal.
Mm-hmm.
And because my business is really a tough business. It's a backstabbing, hard business to be in. If you're not secure and have a good base in your family, I think it's, led a lot of people astray.
Yes.
And even good families, people get led astray with, and so this year especially has been a big give back from me in community. And, so do you have a charity that you work with?
Yes, I do actually. So it is called the National Minority Family Development Institute. And the purpose of the National Minority Family Development Institute is to provide training and to give resources and to give families across the world opportunities so that they can learn how to thrive in life. And when it comes to mental health, when it comes to physical health, and when it comes to their spirit, having a good spirit, a generous spirit, it's what's on the inside that counts.
It is.
And so that's kind of where that platform started for me. But I work very closely with the Community Boys and Girls Club. Mm-hmm. I go in and I do trainings on social emotional development with them. And then also with Girls Incorporated, they don't have Girls Incorporated locally, but years ago, I worked very closely with Girls Incorporated and was able to bring that program to a rural community, that same community that I grew up in that had no resources. So that was like very, very awesome.
I want to know more about this. We have to take one commercial break. I want to know more about Girls Incorporated.
Yes.
Right back.
When it comes to keeping my smile white, I only trust Oral Gen New Pearl Advanced Teeth Whitening System for sensitive teeth. With no harsh chemicals or peroxide, New Pearl offers a unique 99% natural formula that delivers professional results previously only available from your dentist.
Save 50% now on the New Pearl 32X Teeth Whitening Kit. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Visit oralgen.com/livewithangie to order now.
We are back with the extraordinarily soothing Twyna Bell. She's like a morning dew. I like outside. You are just smooth and silk. Like you are just a nice spirit.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, I can imagine that you would you'd give good hugs. You'd be a good mommy. You have children, right?
Yes, I have 2 children actually.
Nice.
A girl and a boy.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish I had started earlier and had more.
Yeah.
I wish I had more kids because I just love having a child.
They're amazing.
Truly,
they're amazing. So amazing.
How do you apply all of this with your children as well? I mean, obviously, you kind of have to.
Yes.
If you do your job well, you must.
Theory to practice.
How old are your children?
I'm human, though. I'm not a therapist all the time,
Well, I would hope not.
Yeah. Yeah.
The kids would be like, Mom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do they do that to you anyway?
Sometimes, yeah. They're like, are we having a session? I'm like, yes, we are. We are having a session. It is important for you to have your therapy sessions.
Well, that's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, not a bad thing at all, actually. It's probably a great thing. They're probably well-adjusted children.
They're well-rounded.
Yes.
They are. They're resilient.
Yeah.
So, yeah. My son is 19.
Mm-hmm.
And he is, this is his first year at ECU, East Carolina University.
Nice.
And he's in school to become a family nurse practitioner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so that's Isaiah. And my daughter is 12. And she's in the 7th grade. And she loves sports.
Oh,
she
nice.
plays every sport. Yeah.
Nice.
So, totally opposite children.
Well, it's good for girls to want to be in sports.
Yes.
Especially at that age.
Yes.
Yes.
Very athletic.
Before our heads spin around. I know I was not easy as a teenager. That's why I say that. I think I was, after 4 boys, and it was me at the end. So I know I challenged my mother a lot.
Yeah. I'm the oldest, so
yeah.
I've had to take care of my siblings and
So you've been a mom for your whole life then?
Oh, pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. My mom and my father, they went to work, sometimes on the weekends or even during the summer. And I'm 13 years. There's a 13-year difference with me and my siblings. So myself and my sister, we had to watch them. We had to take care of them. So my sister, my baby sister today, we were at a family function, and she's done well. So proud of her. I'm like, you're my science project, like you're not the boss of me. She's like, I'm ready to leave. I'm like, no, not right now. I'm in charge. Remember, I'm in charge. But yeah, it's great.
Nice.
Yeah. And they have a really good relationship with my children.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's wonderful. How did you get into what you're doing? How did you get into it?
Yeah, so I started off, I knew that I wanted to work with children, but I thought I wanted to be a teacher at first. Well, first of all, I'm a first-time college graduate in my family. So thank you. Thank you. And so it was not anything that I prepared for, though. I always made good grades. My best friend was like from the ideal family that had everything planned out, and I just followed her lead. And we filled out college applications, and I made it there. But I thought I wanted to be a teacher at first. And when I started working inside of the teaching laboratory, I'm like, I need some one-on-one time with people. And so I changed my major. My undergrad, I have a BSW in social work. So I started off as a public health social worker. I worked in the health department, and I worked with women, pregnant women.
Wow.
And just kind of helped them get through their pregnancy, put resources together for them, provided some counseling to them. And then after that, I wanted more. I wanted to understand the whole body from a biopsychosocial standpoint. But working in the medical setting, there was always psychosocial issues going on, emotional shifting taking place. And I wanted to be able to contribute to that. So went back, got my master's in clinical counseling. And I actually double majored. So I was able to get licensed as a therapist, but also a school counselor. So that's why I'm really, really big on working with the schools. Yes, because I worked as a school counselor once I left the public health department.
And that is not easy. That is not an easy job to do. To get
school counseling?
Just to get kids to open up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I try to volunteer as much as possible at the school.
Yes.
And the other day, I can't even imagine how rewarding your job is when you get somebody that's tough to open up. There's a little girl at my son's school that you could tell something's going on with her, and I go in and I read every Tuesday. Good. And I get in we do whatever. I do just a bunch of stuff with my son, and I really try to get in and make my presence known with the kids. I like it that they know my name and they see. We've done charities for the school and stuff that nobody has done and brought to my son brought awareness, like elephant awareness, to the school.
Awesome.
And there was a girl who just doesn't communicate with the teacher. And I just started paying attention to her, and I raced her around the playground. And I said, if I beat you, you're going to be embarrassed. And I pushed her to run, like teasing her.
Yes.
The next time she saw me, she came running up to me and gave me the biggest hug. And the teacher was like,
yes.
Wow, you connected with her? She's like, can you continue to do that for the year? Because she needs someone to. And I said, I'd be happy to. Awesome. I love this girl. And it was so rewarding to see the young girl that was at first she wouldn't even sit up.
Boundaries, yes.
And when we were first to read, I said, if you don't sit up, I'm not going to continue.
Yes.
So you need to sit up and then I'll start.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, I don't want to. I said, I don't care. I'm going to wait.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's, it reminds me of when I talk about PCIT.
Mm-hmm.
So teachers need that skill too.
Mm.
So we want the parents to be able to speak that language and to connect with the kids, but the teachers also have to have tools of how to connect with these kiddos.
Mm-hmm.
And so teacher-child interaction therapy is another component of PCIT. Like you said, whatever reason, the teacher just wasn't able to connect to that child, but you give her those pride skills and help to enhance that relationship. That academic opportunity is going to increase.
Do they have this in California?
It is a national modality.
Mm-hmm.
I fly all around the country and provide these trainings, so we can definitely get together, and perhaps we can even get you trained.
I would love that.
Yeah, so that you can kind of use some of the skills with the kiddo.
Because I'm doing a lot of stuff with young girls. And we have a lot of stuff planned with young girls.
Awesome.
So this is right down my alley.
Yes.
And young kids, not just girls, because I have a young son.
Yes.
I don't have a daughter. I have a little boy, but I just feel like when I was growing up, my grandmother always said, Angie, always be a lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the society kind of has gone away from that a little bit.
Right.
And I see young girls that are dressing in a way that my grandmother would roll over in her grave.
Right.
If she saw the way society is right now. I think she would really not be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And girls are just giving it all away.
Yes.
And men need something to their imagination. They need to not have it given all away because they classify you immediately.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, with Girls Incorporated, that was a big focus, teaching girls to be strong, smart, and bold.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty is, pretty does.
Right.
And just giving them, those tools that they need. We don't know. Girls don't know sometimes. We learn from experience.
Right.
But how awesome if we could be proactive and mold them and mentor them.
And talk, because I was saying today that women have, and throughout history, women have our brains in evolution. Women had to fight each other, right? To hold on to the man who provided, right?
Yes.
And so now women are stronger, and women don't need men as much. So we don't need to fight with each other as much.
Right.
And so we need to reprogram our brains to join together to have better women relationships.
Collaborative relationships, yes.
And it's a reprogramming and an evolution that needs to be done in our society. It must be done, and it must be done with our kids to make a better place.
Absolutely.
And that's what excites me in trying to just make a little bit of a difference in who I can reach and who I can talk to, and my platform is, reaching these young girls. And I'm really excited about what we're about to launch. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you know, because I really want to do that. I want to talk to you about maybe training me. Yes. That would be a great thing to have for me, because that just young women and young men, because what helps the young girls helps the men too. So when you can make women better, you make men better too. Mm-hmm. And that's also the goal, is so that you have kind, beautiful, smart women, healthy relationships,
yes,
and between each other,
yes. It's important. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. We need the toolbox, and that's why I love what I do. I want people to walk away from me, not just because of my title or they have a toolbox that will last them a lifetime. That's what I want to give.
How long is the training?
Goal.
How long is the training?
So it's really based on the individual. You have to meet mastery. So basically with the training, depending on how often we have the sessions, it could take 6 weeks. So you have homework. And because you have a kid, you would have to spend 5 minutes a day, only 5 minutes a day with your kiddo using the pride skills. And you will do a checkoff sheet. We'll check in weekly and we will go over where you are. But the great thing about it is with the telehealth, I will be able to work with you and coach you while you're using your pride skills. I'll be able to say, great job with that labeled praise, nice reflection. So it's like you're getting live coaching.
That's fabulous.
And we're able to collect the data. So once you meet mastery, when you're able to give at least 10 labeled praises, 10 reflections, all those pride skills within that 5-minute frame, I know you have it.
Wow.
And now you can transfer that over. And it's magic.
And is it sitting down just having a conversation so that you give 10? Because that's a lot.
No. It's actually, so with the kiddos, we have specific tools that we want you to use. Like with the kiddos, we use, like usually with games, there's competition or the kids really didn't maybe know how to put the puzzle together. So we stay away from, we have a toy list that we use because everybody plays, right? Okay. We want you to play. We want your kid to play. So we use Mr. Potato Head. We use Mr. Potato Head, just very simple games where you could just have fun. It's not about figuring out all these hard rules. We don't want it to be hard.
Right.
And so you're exchanging energy with your kid. And during that 5 minutes.
I know Caden's therapist plays games with him all the time.
Yes.
And then so I would assume, because he goes in there by himself, it's his guy. And I want him to have that. And I would assume that it makes him more relaxed.
Yes.
Because he's playing a game.
The power of play. The power of play.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And the great thing about PCIT is because it's a parent coaching model. So we have our kiddos that are in therapy and they're back with the therapist. It's the kids session. But we want the parent to understand how to be just as effective with the child as the therapist is, because the kid is just there once a week for therapy. So the parent or the caregiver or the trainer or the mentor is being trained as a co-therapist. So we're giving you the skill that we use when you're back. Your kiddo is back in the room with us.
Love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this with you.
Yes.
I'm going to do this with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this with you. I find that really fascinating and really, it's something that I'm really going through right now with my son, and we have such a great relationship, but it can always be
enhanced.
Great word.
Yes. Yes. Enhanced.
Enhanced. Instead of better, it can be enhanced.
Yep. And so there's a second part of it. You can't say anything negative during that process. So we don't want you to, we're following the child's lead, and we just, no criticism. It's magic. It's power. And it is really effective, and it's so exciting. And I just want, I want it to be a tool with as many people as possible. So if I can train the trainer, what a difference we can make.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or train people that are inspired, just make it a normal platform that people use to talk to each other.
Right.
That's a great way to look at relationships. You should write a book.
Thought about it.
You should.
Okay.
You should write a book.
I'll put that on my list.
Yeah.
Put that on my list.
I think you'd be good at it.
Thank you.
I think you have a voice that people would listen to.
Well, thank you very much. Have a lot to say.
I know you do. Yeah. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I'd love it if you came back.
I would love to come back.
Because we're connected. I want to take this course with you.
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
We can get you signed up. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. How do people reach you so that people can reach you? Because I want people to have you.
Yes. So I can be reached online at DOC Twyna Bell, TWYNABELL.com.
Okay.
.twynabell.com. It's my website. My telehealth platform is there, and that's how you reach me.
Well, call this woman, because I have a feeling she's going to change and impact your life, because
Yes.
I feel it already just talking to you. You have really kind eyes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You've been on air with Angie Everhart, and thank you for joining me. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Hope we made your day a little better.
Label praise. Nice
Thank you.
job. Thank you.